16th birthday in Los Angeles. She is living her best life as a popular, bubbly teenager who loves everything pink and fashionable. But the celebration comes to an abrupt end when her parents reveal that her father, Wyatt Woods, botched a celebrity's nose job. Because the resulting lawsuit has become a massive scandal, the family needs to leave Los Angeles and lie low in Seattle until things cool off. Although Elle is devastated by the move, her mom, Eva, tries to lift her spirits by surprising her with a tiny chihuahua named Bruiser, who instantly becomes her new best friend. Unfortunately, Seattle is nothing like Los Angeles, and on her first day at Rainier West High School, Elle sticks out like a sore thumb. Everyone else is dressed in flannel and dark colors, while she walks around in head-to-toe pink, looking like Barbie herself. To make matters worse, on the way to school, her mom almost hits a student named Dustin, who is blissfully skating. Things don't improve once classes begin. When the English teacher introduces the novel they'll be studying all semester, Elle politely explains that she never received the summer reading assignment because her family only just moved. Before the teacher can even reply, Elle raises her hand again to ask whether assignments can be submitted creatively, such as through music videos or short films, since that's how her old school encouraged students to learn. However, the teacher quickly shuts her down by telling her to stop asking questions and simply keep up with everyone else, leaving the rest of the class already exhausted by the new girl's endless enthusiasm. When she later heads to her locker to grab her lunch money, Elle runs into Dustin again. Their lockers are right next to each other, and he's busy handing out flyers protesting how several school support staff are being underpaid, while the administration looks the other way. Elle takes one without really understanding the cause before heading to the cafeteria. Once there, she is unsure of where she belongs, so she asks another student named Liz to explain the cafeteria's social hierarchy. Liz points out where everyone sits, including the athletes, the stoners, and the outcasts. The moment Liz points out the popular crowd, Elle confidently walks over and sits right down at their table, but the popular girls immediately berate her. They point out that it took them 4 long years to earn those coveted seats, meaning some random girl from Los Angeles isn't about to join them, and they also seem to have an irrational dislike for LA, despite never actually having been there. Completely embarrassed, Elle decides she'd rather hide in the nurse's office until lunch is over, but when she asks the school secretary Donna for directions, the two unexpectedly bond over a shared love for Cosmopolitan magazine. Because Donna has the latest issue, and Elle's subscription hasn't been forwarded to Seattle yet, Donna kindly lends her the copy. Through their conversation, Elle quickly realizes Donna is basically the school's unofficial guardian angel, who quietly pays for lunches when students can't afford them, covers for kids who arrive late through no fault of their own, and even signs permission slips when parents forget. Donna encourages Elle to keep her chin up, asking her what she would be doing right now if she were still back at her old school. Inspired by this talk, Elle heads straight to the cheerleading tryouts, only to discover that the Seattle version of cheerleading is nothing like the competitive squad she's used to, since almost everyone who signs up gets accepted. As she's leaving, she bumps into another student named Miles, who gently informs her that people in Seattle do not cheer for boys because they find the whole concept demeaning. In this new environment, social justice, activism, and feminism are the reigning mindsets, which directly clashes with the surface-level fun and fashion Elle grew up with. When she gets home that evening, she calls her friends back in Los Angeles to vent, and they advise her that she needs to learn to speak Seattle, instead of trying to force her LA lifestyle onto her new peers. The next day, she tries meeting everyone halfway by wearing a Nirvana shirt, although she can't resist pairing it with leather pants and plenty of rhinestones. Unfortunately, it still isn't enough to make her fit in. Seeing how miserable her daughter has become, Eva transforms Elle's bedroom into a bright pink paradise that feels just like home. Elle feels guilty that something as superficial as pink wallpaper can make her so happy, but Eva reminds her that there's nothing wrong with loving beautiful things. Being feminine doesn't make her shallow, especially since Elle is also kind, funny, generous, and compassionate. She doesn't need to become someone else just to fit into Seattle. Taking her mother's advice to heart, Elle returns to school dressed exactly the way she wants, and finds Dustin trying to auction off donated items to raise money for the school's underpaid staff. Because hardly anyone is interested, Elle jumps in and completely changes the atmosphere. She convinces everyone that an old vase Dustin is auctioning could someday become valuable if Dustin's mom becomes a famous artist, prompting Miles to buy it. When another auction item, a football jersey, fails to attract bids, Elle passionately tells everyone about all the incredibly kind things Donna does behind the scenes for the student body, explaining that the auction money is going to support wonderful staff members just like her. Suddenly, the crowd starts bidding, and the fundraiser becomes a huge success. However, when Elle heads to school the following day expecting to have finally won everyone over, she finds that everyone is giving her strange looks. It turns out the school administration overheard everything she said during her big auction speech, and instead of being touched by Donna's generosity, they accuse her of violating school policy by stealing money from the school. Consequently, they fire Donna, and Elle is blamed for it. The one bright spot about moving to Seattle is finally meeting Shannon, the student council's social justice coordinator, who has just returned after being away visiting the Fashion Institute of Technology. She warmly welcomes Elle with a gift basket filled with local recommendations, school information, and even a copy of her mother's latest book. Because Shannon is bubbly and shares a passion for fashion, she instantly makes Elle feel like she has found a kindred spirit. However, her hopes of building a friendship shatter at lunch when she realizes Shannon is actually close friends with the resident queen bee, Kimberly. Dustin tells Elle that if she really wants to become friends with Shannon, she'll first have to get past Kimberly, which is easier said than done. With Donna now working at the farmer's market, and most of the school blaming her for what happened, Elle decides her best chance at repairing her reputation is getting Donna's job back. After hearing one of her teachers mention how petitions can influence school decisions, she spends the day collecting signatures from students before presenting them to Principal Anderson. Unfortunately, he tells her the decision wasn't entirely his to make and that the matter is effectively closed. Elle refuses to give up and pivots to flattery by complimenting his luxury suede jacket, but the principal mentions the jacket belongs to his wife. When she pushes further, he reveals his wife was born and bred in Seattle, leaving Elle frustrated as she departs. Getting Donna reinstated isn't just about making things right anymore. Elle has also set her sights on a cosmopolitan internship competition back in Los Angeles. Winning it would let her spend time back home while building her dream career in fashion journalism. Since the petition failed, Elle refocuses on winning over Shannon instead by convincing her mom to attend a reading by Shannon's mother, Robin Walker, whose memoir was included in the welcome basket. Mother and daughter genuinely enjoy the event, and afterwards, Elle finally gets a chance to talk with Shannon. Shannon compliments Elle's boots but points out that nobody in Seattle wears real suede because the constant rain would ruin them, to which Elle proudly explains that they're actually ultrasuede and completely waterproof. That tiny comment suddenly makes her realize that if Principal Anderson's wife really grew up in Seattle like he claimed, she'd know better than to own a suede jacket. That means the jacket almost certainly belongs to another woman, making Elle suspect Anderson is having an affair. Shannon is amused by the deduction, and the two begin bonding over the mystery. Unfortunately, the evening takes an awkward turn when Elle's mom tries relating Robin's memoir about homelessness and hardship to their family's experience of Wyatt accidentally botching a celebrity's nose job. The tone-deaf comparison lands terribly, leaving Elle completely embarrassed. Later, she admits to her dad that she wishes he was the one who had accompanied her instead, and because Eva overhears the conversation, she quietly realizes she let her daughter down. Around school, everyone keeps talking about the upcoming Carpet Mart, one of Seattle's biggest youth events. Hoping it'll be another chance to fit in, Elle approaches Liz, the quiet girl who sits beside her in class. After recognizing a logo on Liz's shirt, Elle tracks her down to the record store where she works and asks if they can attend together, but Liz tells her the event is already sold out. The Woods family doesn't do sold out, so Elle tasks her dad with getting tickets, but it's ultimately Eva who comes through because that's her area of expertise. When Kimberly spots Liz and Elle at the party, the first thing she asks is why Liz is hanging around the girl who got her mom fired. That's when Elle learns something she never knew. Liz is actually Donna's daughter. Donna previously told Elle to stop trying to fix things but never explained why, and now Liz finally does. Donna's employment at Rainier West is tied directly to Liz's enrollment there through a staff-dependent tuition program. Once Donna lost her job, Liz technically should have been expelled as well, but Principal Anderson made an exception and allowed her to stay. If Elle exposes Anderson's affair to force Donna's reinstatement, he could easily retaliate by reversing that decision and kicking Liz out of school. Realizing she'd only make things worse, Elle abandons the blackmail idea altogether. Frustrated, Elle vents to Dustin about how sketchy the principal seems and how he is cheating on his wife, so Dustin suggests she stop thinking about it for one night and drags her onto the dance floor to loosen up and actually have some fun. Instead, Elle suddenly collapses. It's Miles who rushes to help and takes her to the hospital before her mother arrives. His kindness doesn't go unnoticed, and Elle finds herself developing feelings for him. Those hopes are crushed later that night, however, when she's walking Bruiser and spots Miles kissing Shannon, revealing that they're actually dating. Meanwhile, Dustin digs into Principal Anderson's past and uncovers reports surrounding Anderson's abrupt departure from his previous school. The Cosmopolitan internship application turns out to be a series of essay questions, rather than a standard application. For the first essay, which asked how she would stage a comeback if things got bad, Elle wrote that comebacks are never easy, but the only way forward is to keep fighting instead of giving up. The next question asks applicants to describe themselves in just one word, but that one completely stumps her because she can't think of a single word that captures everything she is. That dilemma is still on her mind the next morning when she stops by the coffee shop where Donna works on weekends. Hoping to avoid an awkward encounter with Miles, she disguises herself with a hat and sunglasses, but unfortunately, it doesn't work. She ends up running into both Miles and Shannon, who are happily acting like the perfect couple right in front of her.